Hello everyone, I am Susie.
I am Lucy.
Today we will take you to the Kids Castle. There are many good stories and lots of fun toys in the Kids Castle. Let's go together. Hooray! Hi friends, today I am going to read those books for you. And now let's get started. Nelson Mandela, from prisoner to president.
Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela, from prisoner to president. May the 10th, 1994, Pretoria, South Africa. The sun shines brightly on the crowd gathered outside the government's offices. Leaders from all over the world, princes and presidents, here are to celebrate with people. A man walks onto the stage. The crowd stands and cheers. Nelson Mandela is here. 4 years ago, Mandela was in jail. 2 weeks ago, he voted for the first time ever. Today, he will become president. Mandela raises his right hand and promises to lead his country. At the age of 75, he is sworn in as the first black president of South Africa. President Mandela speaks to the crowd about the past 400 of years. South Africa was ruled by white people. Their laws strictly limit the rights and opportunities of anyone who was not white. Mandela thanks everyone who helped change the laws and make sure every South Africa could vote. All day long, President Mandela thinks about South Africa's history, its bright future, and place in it. He remembers the people who came before him. He's amazed by everything they did and did to make this day happen. Let there be justice for all. Justice for all. Let there be peace for all, he declares. Tree shaker. Nelson Mandela was born on July the 18th, 1918, in the village of Mubezo. His birth name, Kaka, means tree shaker or troublemaker in Xhosa. Many South Africa tribes like his speak this language. His father Harry had an important job in the Tambu tribe. He constituted the tribe's ruler, but when Kaka was still a baby, his daughter got into trouble for refusing to obey a white official. The government took away his job and property. Kaka and his mother had to live with her family in another village 20 miles away. In time, he learned to fish and to herd sheep and cows. He played with the other children. He loved his new home. When Kaka was 7, his parents sent him away to school. This was a great privilege. The school was run by European missionaries. On the first day, his teacher gave him the English name Nelson. I'll ask you why the first name was Kaka.
Why? Because he didn't listen to his troublemaker.
Why?
He is a troublemaker. The shaker, troublemaker.
His first is a troublemaker, but then his name turned into Nelson. Why?
Nelson is his English name.
But colica is what?
Is what? I don't know.
Means trick shaker or troublemaker.
I see.
When Nelson was 12, his father died. Heartbroken, Nelson went to live with the chiefs on the Tambu tribe. Nelson's daughter had been the chief's great advisor, and the chief wanted to honor their friendship. He would make sure Nelson received the best education. His home was bigger than any Nelson had ever seen. Nelson played with the chief's children and worked hard at school. Soon he felt at home. Nelson loved listening to chiefs and his council. Sometimes they told stories about their people's history. They also shared problems affecting their tribe. The chief listened to everyone wherever they were worried about crops or new laws forced on them by the white government. He decided what was the best for the tribe, and after everyone had a chance to speak, Nelson said how to lead the people by listening. When he was 13, Nelson went to boarding school. His good grades would help him get accepted to college in 1938. Runaway at college, Nelson studied and kept busy. He played soccer and acting plays. Toward the end of his second year, the students decided they did not like how they were being treated. Nelson joined their protest. The principal said he would not be invited if he continued to stir up trouble. Nelson left school, but he had an even bigger problem waiting at home. The chief had picked a bride for Nelson. Nelson, he did not want to marry, so he ran away to a city called Johnsonburg. What does he do? This
Protest. 请愿呀，就去申请。
Why said no? Why?
不要，这个不同意嘛，请愿嘛，所以这个。
In 1941, the city offered great opportunities if you were white, but black people, it was a different story. They had to follow strict laws that limit where they could go and keep what they could own. Nelson could not keep a job. He was running out of money and choices. Luckily, he became friends with Waters. Sisu Water owned a real estate business helping black South Africans find places to live. He was also involved in the African National Congress, ANC. The ANC wanted black South Africans to have the same rights as the white South Africans.
Walter helped Nelson get a job.
Walter had Nelson get a job as a law clerk. Law clerk.
记事员，法律记事员。
As a law clerk and find a place to live. The next few years flew by. Nelson returned to school and joined the ANC. He started to study the law. Somehow, Nelson found the time to get married and start a family. Apartness. In 1948, another white political party came into power. They called themselves the National Party, yet white people were a small minority of the whole population. The party wanted to separate the races of South Africa. When they won the election, that is exactly what they did. After the National Party took control, they passed a number of unfair laws. Every part of the life in South Africa became separate by race, school, transportation, sport teams, results, and even centuries. Eventually, separate homelands were created for Black South Africans. The government ordered everyone from the same ethnic group to live in the same homeland. More than 3 million people were forced to move.
强制他们搬家 ，forced to.
You see, the white people were treated very good. You see, but but the black people were not. You see.
Yeah.
Because you see, they were separating. You see, the whites only they had a new chair, but the non-whites only had a dirty chair.
Yeah.
Is it? Right. Houses in homelands were crowded and dirty. They did not have indoor plumbing. Non-whites could travel outside their homeland only for work. The last were part of a system called apartheid, which means apartheid. Blacks were arrested for sitting in whites only seats on buses or staying past curfew. Nelson Mandela and the ANC decided it was time to act.
行动，该做些事情了，是不是？
Defiance. But by 1952, Nelson Mandela had earned a diploma and was able to practice law. He and a friend from college opened the first black law firm in South Africa. They represented people who were arrested under the new apartheid laws. Every morning they'd find a crowd of people waiting to see them. They often worked late into the night. When Nelson wasn't at the office or in court, he was working with the ANC. They had a plan called the Defiance Campaign. Nelson, this protest
什么意思？你知道吧 ？Define campaign 什么意思？知道吗？
The last two jobs were unfair, and this is called civil. Some black people rode whites only train cars. The other marched in the streets singing songs about freedom. Some broke their curfews. They were always peaceful wherever they went. During the campaign, and some anti-protests were beaten. Many were arrested, including Nelson.
你看，你听，先听一下。
Defiance campaign
是什么意思啊？
反抗运动
campaign 就是运动 ，defiance 就是反抗。
Defiance campaign 反抗运动
After this, the government made life even worse for non-white people. Nelson and other ANC leaders were banned from going to ANC meetings or work and had to stay in their homes. In 1955, the ANC and other anti-ethnic groups joined forces. They held a meeting called the Congress for the People. Together, they made a list of rights they wanted, such as voting and owning property. They agreed on it and called it the Freedom Charter. On the second day of the meetings, the police broke up the peaceful group. Repression, December 5, 1956. So too, early one morning, the police knocked on Nelson's door. They searched his home. He didn't find anything, but still they arrested him for protesting a part of it. They charged him with treason, which means he had supposedly betrayed his country. All over South Africa, 156 anti-apartheid leaders were charged with treason.
哎 ，excuse me，betrayed， 你知道是什么意思吗 betrayed his country. Betrayed 什么意思 ？Betrayed 就是背叛的意思。
The government took 4 years to prepare for the trial. Luckily, the subjects did not.
Trial 不是 trial。
For the trial, luckily the subjects did not have to stay in the whole time. Nelson spent those years with the ANC preparing for the trial. His law firm closed. He never saw his family. He and his wife grew apart and covers.
你可以问一下吗 ？Grow apart 就分开了，然后 divorced 就离婚了，就不在一起了。Divorced.
There was a boys brought for Nelson during this time. He met a young social worker named Winnie. They fell in love, got married, and had 2 daughters. But there was also a shocking event while they prepared for the trial to start. It changed everything for Nelson Mandela and the ANC. Outlaw. On March 21, 1960, protests were taking place in a number of townships which were areas where non-white people lived. Where non-whites were traveled outside the city, they had to carry passbooks. Passbooks including information about their identity. Whites did not have to use passbooks.
Okay. Do you know what is outlaw?
无法了。
无法无天是不是？
outlaw 取缔，
无法无天也是取缔的意思。不听话，无法无天，取缔。
In Sharpeville, you see, they were treated badly, isn't it? You see, the black had to carry back the passbooks, but whites did not have to use passbooks. In Sharpeville, over 5,000 people gathered in a field to protest passbooks. They marched to the police station and sang songs. The songs got louder and the police grew nervous. They found the protesters were throwing rocks. The police shouted at the crowd. Minutes later, 69 people lay dead. Nearly 200 were wounded.
Wounded 就是受伤了。Protest 是什么意思啊
protest
？Protest 什么意思啊 ？Protest
反对，
反对抗议就叫 protest。
People all over the country were furious. The ANC organized more marches, but the government cracked down. They ruled that groups like the ANC were against the law.
Furious 什么意思
furious
是什么意思呀
furious
？Furious 是什么意思？就刚才你看一下刚才那页，我 furious 是什么意思啊？
狂怒 furious
就非常生气、狂怒了，都愤怒了，非常愤怒、生气。
Why they are so furious? Why?
Because it's unfair for them, right?
Why 69 people lay dead and nearly 200 were wounded? Why? Wounded? Why?
都受伤了，你肯定是警察打的，他们把他们打伤了。我 wounded 都受伤了，是吧？
That's the perfect now. They arrested thousands of people, including Nelson. He was jailed for 5 months but never charged with the crime. Nelson Mandela had enough. He was tired of watching his people's peaceful protests and ending arrest, beatings, and death. He and his friends had been fighting the treason charge for years. In the end, the judge declared them not guilty. Once the trial was over, Nelson said goodbye to Winnie and his daughters and went into hiding. Nelson started a secret branch of the ANC. It was called the Spirit of the Nation. He would be the leader. They say he would use weapons and fight like an army. Their goal was to make trouble for governments, not hurt people. They set off bombs in power plants and government offices at night. The government declared Mandela an outlaw. Rewards were offered for his capture. Nelson wore disguises and to get around and only saw his family in secret. He even left South Africa to meet the foreign leaders. He was hoping to raise money for the ANC.
Declare 是什么意思呀？
被除。
The government declare Mandela an outlaw. Declare 是什么意思呀？宣布，对，决定，宣布了他，是不是 ？And reward 还没有呢。And offered for his capture. Capture 是什么意思呀？
抓住。
对，抓捕，你大声说，啊，抓捕的，抓捕的意思。
Why he wore disguise?
What means disguise?
假装，扮装。
Disguise.
Why?
Get around and only saw his family in secret. Yeah.
Why he wear disguises? Why?
I don't know. Do you know why?
I don't know. When he returned to South Africa, Nelson drove from one secret meeting to another. On August 5, 1962, he was driving back to Johannesburg. His car was ambushed by the police. Nelson captured and sentenced to 5 years in prison.
什么叫 ambushed 呀？Ambushed by police 是什么意思啊？Ambush 就是伏击，你听。
ambushed 伏击
伏击就是打埋伏，埋伏着。Ambush 怎么你听不着了？你可以让别人听一下，让小朋友也听一下。伏击、打击他的埋伏，伏击就偷袭了他的车呢。
To 5 years, he was ambushed by the police. Nelson was captured and sentenced to 5 years in prison. One more trial. After almost a year in prison, Nelson got bad news. The ANC members were being arrested. The police discovered maps and other papers showing Spear of the nation's plans. Nelson went on the trial with his friends.
Okay. Sorry. Nations plan 啊，国家计划。
Nelson went on trial with his friend. They were accused of trying to take down the government. If they were found guilty, they might be hanged. When it's time for them to present their case, Nelson defended the whole group. He spoke for almost 3 hours. He admits everything Spear of the nation had done, but he did not apologize. He said, I had cherished the idea of democratic and free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is ideal for which I hope to live and see realized, but if it needs to be, it's an ideal for which I am prepared to die. Nelson and 7 others were found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. Prisoner. Nelson was 45 years old when he returned to prison. This time his friends went to. They were sent to a prison on Robben Island. Nelson was known as a prisoner 46664. He was given a shirt, a pair of shorts, and a few thin blankets, and a bucket of 420. His cell was 8 by 7 feet. Prisoners worked long days in the quarry. They woke up rocks side by side, but were not allowed to speak to each other. The conditions were horrible. Over time, Nelson used non-violent methods to make changes. He always walked proudly in front of the guards, no matter how scared he was. He planned work stop pages with the prisoners. Sometimes they would not eat until they were treated less harshly. It took them many years, but slowly they were given better clothes and food. While in prison, Nelson studied Afrikaans while white minority language. He wanted to understand the language of his enemies. Outside, the police did not stop bothering Nelson's family even when he was in jail. They followed Winnie. They searched her home and questioned whatever they wanted. She could visit Nelson only twice a year. Each visit lasted half an hour. In 1969, Winnie herself was arrested and she was held for 16 months. Over and over again, she was questioned, arrested, abused, and banned from leaving her house. During this time, a new generation of protesters grew up. It was harder than ever for black children to go to school. The laws became stricter. The National Party commanded schools to teach some lessons in Afrikaans. On June the 16th, 1976, the students saw social protest. They refused to go to school. They refused to take a test in a language they don't know. So they marched through their township holding signs. Some of them threw rocks at the police. The police aimed their guns at the crowd and fired. For days, people rioted in Sotil. More than 500 of them died. In prison, Nelson could not listen to the radio or read newspaper, but some of the guards gave him newspaper clippings about Winnie, and when new prisoners arrived on Robben Island, they told Nelson and his friends about the student protests. Free Mandela. People outside South Africa were shocked by what they saw on the news. 40 companies canceled business deals with South Africa. Sport team refused to play against South Africa's athletes. Concerts and protests were held all over the world to support Nelson Mandela. The country was going broke. Nelson and a few friends were moved to a new prison in 1982. They'd been on Robben Island for 18 years. Over the next few years, Nelson met secretly with the government officials. They offered him freedom if he stopped fighting apartheid using violence and told his followers to do the same. Nelson refused. He would rather stay in prison than give up his dream of equality for all South Africans. A new president, F.W. de Klerk, was elected in September 1989. Nelson met with him in December, and once again he explained why apartheid must end. This president listened. Less than 2 months later, de Klerk lifted the ban on groups like the ANC and freed political prisoners. Nelson's prison sentence was finally over. Freedom. February the 11th, 1990, left to prison after 27 years in prison. 71-year-old Nelson Mandela left as a free man. A car drove him through the prison gates. Nelson and Winnie got out of the car and raised their hands to hundreds of people cheering. They drove to Cape Town, where more than 100,000 people wait to see him. Celebrations were held everywhere. Nelson knew there was still much work to be done. In 1991, he became president of the ANC. The fighting in the townships and among the police did not stop right away. It took a few more years and many more meetings before all of South Africa's political parties agreed to hold a Dominican election. But the world was watching. In 1993, Nelson Mandela and President de Klerk were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. And finally, on April 27, 1994, more than 90 million people voted, including former prisoner 46664. Nelson Mandela served one term as president. He stepped down in 1999 and devoted the rest of his life helping people in South Africa. He worked to educate about the AIDS. He met with the foreign government and invited them to bring their business back to South Africa. When he wasn't traveling the world, Nelson enjoyed getting to know his many grandchildren and great-grandchildren. He died at home on December 5, 2013. Okay, we finished all the books. I will see you next time. Bye. So that's all for today. If you have nice stories or fun toys, remember to write to Susie and Lucy. We will share it with every kid in the first place. If you like our channel, remember to click on the subscription below. Susie and Lucy are waiting for you here. See you soon.